hope you're enjoying the coverage as we move to arguably some of the finest boats in the regatta, the Canadian fours for men, then the men's K4 and the women's K4. And I know, Malcolm, well, not the canoe, but certainly the kayak four, that's a personal favourite of yours.
Absolutely. These crew boats, especially the four-man boats, are real great boats to race. When it goes well, it feels absolutely wonderful. When it goes bad, it feels terrible.
Well, this is the Canadian fours, which is not an Olympic event, and there's been a lot of concern over the years whether the strength in depth would be good enough to continue it. But I have to say it's been good to see the number of C4s turning out here in Hungary for this, and perhaps there's a little regeneration for this boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's never been the most popular events, but actually to watch, it's one of the best events here and gets a lot of support. So I think it deserves its place in the programme.
Yeah, and if you think it's hard having two men in a Canadian canoe balancing, believe me, four is even harder.
Yep, I've tried it. I lasted about 20 metres, I think, so it's pretty difficult.
Well, the world champions are the Poles, who were disqualified from this year's European Championships, and they are in lane 5. The silver medalists a year ago, well, they're right on the far side in lane 1, the Romanians. The bronze medalists, they're the Germans, who are in lane 4, shoulder to shoulder with the Poles. Well, a somewhat tentative start, but they're all away pretty evenly.
Well, a good clean start. I think it's very important for these crew boats that they all put the paddle in, they all put the weight on the blade at the same time, so as not to cause any disruption in the boat.
Well, Germany took the European gold ahead of Belarus, who are in lane 3, and then the Hungarians took the bronze. And there's been a few changes, crew changes, as you would expect, and so I wouldn't read too much into that European form guide.
No, this will be a really interesting race to see. You can see it developing at the moment. It's actually quite close, so it'll just be down to which crew really gets it together and paddles together, drives their legs together, drives their arms together, and when it comes to putting an effort in, when it comes to increasing the pace, they can all do that at the same time as well.
Well, I must say I'm really impressed with the Poles. Look at the leaders there. Timing is excellent, length is good, real power onto the blade.
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it, with the good crews, that they look like they've got a little bit more time than all the other crews, and the Polish at the moment look long, look relaxed, but so do the... Is that the Germans?
It is the Germans, just on the far side of them, yeah.
They're looking relaxed, they're looking smooth too.
Hungarians are struggling a little bit to get into this at the moment. Hungarians who are 2 lanes further away, and at the moment they're not in the medals. And such is the expectancy here. It would be a shock for the crowd. The Hungarians can't win everything, but believe me, they expect to win everything.
Absolutely. I thought the crowd had gone quiet a little bit. Yet the Hungarians have a lot of work to do to get on terms here. It still looks like the Poles and the Germans.
Yeah, also going well, the Russians in lane 8, 2 from the bottom of your picture. They're not in your picture at the moment. They were a very modest 8th and only 7th in Europe, and they're a really good example of a quartet that have reorganised themselves since the Europeans.
Yeah, they've had a few changes and they're looking good. They're just down at the moment on the Polish and Germans, but that's certainly not insurmountable. They could make that with a good acceleration, a good effort.
Now the Germans really powering through. They've really taken this third quarter, and they are storming. This is Robert Nug, Stefan Bruing, Stefan Hultz and Thomas Luck, and the European champions have suddenly put in a power burst, and going with them there, Belarus, who are in white. Sometimes they wear green, sometimes they wear white. Today it's white, and it's Germany, with Belarus moving into the silver medal position to their left. You can just see the bow of their canoe coming in, and on the near side here in lane 5, that's Poland, and it's very close between Poland and Belarus.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting finish, this one. The wheels can really fall off these boats if they don't keep the rhythm together, but the Germans starting to really make a charge for the line here and pulling out almost a boat length on the rest of the crews.
And this is really good, powerful, harmonious paddling by the Germans. But look at the Belarus. They're all beginning to come on to the Germans now. The Germans went for home early. Belarus fancy their chances and are really putting some power. Now you can see the shoulders beginning to rock and roll a little bit. Belarus on the far side of the Germans in just about silver medal position on the near side here. Poland trying to come back at it, and also Canada storming through to take probably the silver medal. That's silver for Canada, bronze for Belarus, and the Canadians, well, what a good result for Andrew James, Thomas Hall, Kyle Jeffrey and Dmitry Yukovsky. Germany have won the gold, but Canada, silver medalists back in 2002 and 2003, well, they've got another silver. But the Germans, who, well, they were only bronze medalists last year, they've got the gold this time. Well done to Robert Nook, Stefan Brung, Stefan Holtz and Thomas Look.
Well, and quite a significant race for the German team there as well, I think. A gold medal for them. They expect to get a lot more gold medals than they've had today, so hopefully the German C4 team getting the whole German team back on track here.
And you can just see what it takes to move one of these boats. These guys are terrific physical specimens.
Oh, absolutely. These guys are big. They're all over 80 kilos. They can all bench press over 150 kilos. So if you think that's the equivalent of bench pressing 2 adult men. So they're very, very strong, and they've also got the endurance to last the length of the race.
Hungary and Germany, the two dominant nations in this sport. They like to shut the door on everybody else, but as we've seen already at this regatta, that is not happening. So here we go from the start.
That's right. You can see, as we said, they all got away to quite a clean start here. We didn't mention the crews over this side of the course, and again, Canada came through. We've had that a few times in this event. The crews in lane 7, 8 and 9, as we said, just playing their own game, not getting involved in their own race, and come through to get the medals at the end. But we can see here the Germans, they had a good rhythm going, started to struggle, started to stutter a little bit over the last 100 metres, but they've got enough left in the bag to go over the line fairly dominantly in first place there.
And there you can see the Russians, 2 from the bottom there, offline, and that tells you that they just ran out of gas. The power went, it just drained out of them. They couldn't keep the canoe going.
That's right. When the power goes on one of these things, it's very difficult to keep it together.
So well done to Germany. Well done, as I said, to the Canadians. It's we can't see them at the moment, but it's a crew that's drawn from Dartmouth in Nova Scotia and Pontclair in Quebec and Mississauga and Halifax in Nova Scotia. So there it is, silver to Canada, and Belarus clinging on for the bronze medal.
5, 4, 3,
82 countries participating here. A really superb entry in Szeged, and as Lucerne is to the rowing fraternity, so Szeged is to the canoeing brotherhood.
That's right. I mean, it's such, we talked about this before, but it's such a big sport in Hungary. The Hungarian canoeists, particularly the Olympic medalists, are sort of are famous, almost your pop star, if you like. They're on TV, they're very well known, and they get a great deal of support. And you can see when we see the crowd, what a big and vociferous crowd we get here. They're so supportive of the paddlers.